ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ। पार्थाय प्रतिबोधिताम् भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वाम् अनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। My namaskars to you all. We are listening this, deliberating upon these verses from Srimad Bhagavad Gita. We are in the chapter number 14, and in the last class we had touched this verse number 12. This chapter it is dedicated to the discussion on gunas. Now, earlier references have come in this Bhagavad Gita itself about gunas, and here this whole chapter is dedicated to this idea. This chapter, when it had begun, Bhagwan had uttered these words that this is the highest knowledge, jnananam jnanam uttamam, that among the body of knowledges, this is the highest knowledge. Once again, and knowing which, that you will attain the highest accomplishment, param siddhim ita gataha, that you will attain that kind of siddhi, that kind of accomplishment, you will become perfect. This knowledge is therefore necessary, imperative. Now, not only that, he said that idam jnanam upashritya mama sadharmya magataha, that you will become like me if you get this knowledge. And what is that knowledge is about? That he first declares the distinction between the Ishvara, the consciousness, and the material. Earlier chapter was dedicated to this idea only, that it was called as Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga. Again, the distinction between material and consciousness. Now here, he says, he brings out this idea, this consciousness, and especially he says, Ishvara, the one who is creator and ruler of this earth. He says everything material, as if that is the mother, the great mother womb, and from which that he is that seed giver, upon which whole universe has as if been procreated. Taking up this kind of idea. Sambhava sarva bhutanam tato bhavati bharata, that everything whatever you see existent has proceeded therefore. And he says that in any body, sarva yonishu kauntaya murtaya sambhavantiyaha. In whatsoever kind, in whatsoever species, sarva yonishu kauntaya murtaya sambhavantiya. So whatever has embodied that I am the father, aham bija pradaprita. And this Brahman, this Prakriti is the mother womb. Now, saying this, he says, now understanding Prakriti, because consciousness, this is only one thing. This Prakriti, he says, Sattvam Rajas Tama iti Gunaha Prakriti Sambhavaha. These three gunas, they are born of Prakriti. Nibadhanti Mahavaho Dehe Dehinam Avyam. Now, if you pay attention to this word gunas, and they are translated as quality, yes, that is true. So this Prakriti, the very idea of it from Sankhyas, and how everything this subsequent production of different materials, ultimately they say 27 components are there in the Prakriti, in which 5 senses, 5 Vishayas, Panchendriya, Panchajnanendriya, Karmendriya. So this becomes 24 elements, and Antakaran Chatushte, that becomes the 4. So 24 elements. 5 each, 5 Vishaya, 5 Tanmatras. That is Pancha Vishaya, Pancha Jnanendriya, Pancha Karmendriya. So, these, where does this gunas comes in? We do not see gunas in this production line. And these gunas are existent as long as Prakriti is existent. And as soon as this creation proceeds, these gunas are functioning. But gunas are never born or created as if in this down the line production. We never see that at this stage gunas comes into existence. No. We do not see that. So when this Prakriti along with Purusha starts begetting this whole universe in the term of this Pancha Tanmatras, through which Panchakarana becomes these 5 gross elements, etc., etc. So, at what point, so these gunas, therefore, so these gunas being functional, this becomes functional when this creation starts. And when they become silent, when they come into equilibrium, this whole creation goes to dissolution. So they are the qualities of this Prakriti itself. They are the Prakriti itself. And when they starts vibrating, whole universe proceeds. So these gunas, these qualities, they are of the Prakriti itself. In the 7th chapter, Bhagavan had made reference to this. Here in the 14th verse he had said this. Earlier also, but here especially. The 12th verse he says, Ye chaiva satvika bhava rajasas tamasascha ye matta eveti tan vidhi natvaham teshu te mai. That here he was in a very beautiful mood, and immediately when he comes to the gunas, he said this. Earlier he is saying very big thing. He is in a Krishna, Bhagwan Krishna. He is in a very lofty mood. That I have become this, I have become that. And not only when he says, when it comes to gunas, he says, Echaiva satvika bhava rajasas tamasaschaye. That all these bhavas, manifestations of these three gunas, satvika, rajas and tamas, they all have come from me. Until this is all right. And then he says, Na tvaham teshu te mai. That I am not in them, they exist in me. So here he first makes the caution to Arjuna not to mistake him as material. That they exist in me, I do not exist in them. And then as soon as he says, he as if goes into a different track, and then he's deliberating on this idea, Tribhir gunamair bhavair ebhi sarvam idam jagat. That all this jagat, all this universe, sarvam, he says tribhir gunamair bhavair. So, expressions or manifestations of these three gunas, gunamayi, made up of these three gunas. This whole of this universe is like that. And mohitam nabhi janati mamebhya param avyayam. That I am, though beyond it, param avyayam, I am not affected by it. And mohitam, the deluded soul, mohitam, he does not know this. He does not understand this. And because he is limited, he is captivated, he is infatuated by this display of these three gunas, these three qualities. And then he says that how powerful this is. Daivi hesha gunamayi mama maya durachaya mameva ye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. That mama maya, this maya belongs to me. This is my maya. This delusion, this maya is divine. It is made up of these gunas, these qualities. And the person who only surrenders me, he only can go beyond it. Maya metam tarantite. They can alone go beyond these three gunas. So, in this Bhagavad Gita, so here in the 7th chapter, what we see here, most prominent this reference. Earlier, from the 2nd chapter onwards itself, he had made references to Sankhyas. But gunas, what we see here in this chapter, in the 7th chapter. So these three gunas, therefore, are such, he considers it that the ultimate secret. And here it will come down the line when in the 23rd verse, etc., when he speaks, there is a very beautiful portion in this chapter from Arjuna asks this question in the 21st verse and 22nd verse onwards. So, why this knowledge of the gunas he considers is very high, and why this perspective must comes to Arjuna when he is talking about this practical spirituality, practical Vedanta, how these ideas which he has spoken until now, how this has to be translated into work field and actual living of that individual, and Bhagwan thinks and he explains to Arjuna that this component is very important, this perspective is very important. And how then first he begins this his elaboration of these three gunas. He talks about the bondage, how these three gunas creates the bondage. So these are the qualities, these are a prakriti, and they have certain characteristics which exploiting which they can become a virtue, but as well as they have this side, they can become a bondage because it is material, it is not conscious, it is not consciousness. So these three gunas, he says in the first, the sattva, that tatra sattvam nirmalatvat prakashakam anamayam. So this is the quality of sattva, That is nirmalatvat. It is the purest of the three. Nirmalatvat. It is prakashakam. It is the giver of light. And anamayam, that it is free from amayam, that is evil. Or so there is no darkness. There is this purity. Wherever there is sattva is there. And what happens? What is the binding part of it? Then he said, Sukha sangena badhnati jnana sangena chanaka. That the person who has the dominance of sattva in him, he should safeguard himself. That sukha sangena badhnati. He can become attached. He can get bound by attachment to sukha, the comfort. He doesn't want to do hardship. This is what, due to sattva, it will arise. That if there is an alternative, he will take the comfortable one. He will not take the hard one. Sukha sangena bandhati. Second bondage is jnana sangena. Now, jnana is considered to be very grand, very high, but that person may get bound due to this attachment to jnana itself, and jnana do not proceed into action. Because again, when you go to action, when you go to rajas, then it is with the struggle, it is with the strife, and he want to avoid that because it is not comfortable. So this happens when there is a sattva. So I had deliberated on these verses, so I will go fast upon this. Similarly, in the what happens in rajas, when there is a dominance of rajas, rajo ragatmakam vidhi trushna sanga samudbhavam. So it is of the nature of attachment, attraction, raga. Ramate and gamate, that is raga. So his mind, he likes that, and it moves that person in that direction, raga. So what does it? It creates trushna sanga samudbhavam. It begets trushna and sanga, or it can be said it is born out of trushna and sanga. Trushna, that is the desire, sanga, that is the attachment. It is born out of it, and it gives rise to this trushna and sanga. Trushna sanga samudbhavam, and it binds that individual. Why? By this work which is coming out of this trushna and sanga. This raga, trushna and sanga. For this attraction, this desire and attachment, this action proceeds out of these desires. And due to these things, through this action, it binds that individual. It pushes that individual, motivates that individual more and more. That attraction pulls him, he goes on after it. And that's how this prakriti keeps him binding. This person do not get knowledge. So jnana and karma, therefore, they both, here jnana can be also yoga, path to spirituality. Karma can also be yoga, path to spirituality. But they themselves, they are means, they are not the objective, and they can become binding, they can delude that person, and truth can remain always covered and hidden from those individuals. They might not get liberated. One is lost in jnana, another is lost in karma. So the play of this maya is that's why it is divine. So one way or other person, there are millions ways to get lost. Probably in this maya. Millions ways to get lost. The third thing he explains, tamatud ajnanajam vidhi. It is born out of ajnana. Mohanam sarva dehinam. It keeps all embodied beings deluded. Mohanam. And what is its nature? He says three things. Pramada alasya nidrabhi. That person, get addicted and lose everything. Due to what? Due to this pramada, miscomprehension, alasya, indolence, and nidra, sleep. These are the three things due to which he loses. Another fellow he loses due to excessive giving himself to the action. Another only giving to the knowledge, not going to action. And here he does not have both because he finds pleasure in what? In this inadvertence, pramada, this alasya, this laziness, this slothfulness, and this nidra, that as if truth has come to him and he puts his hand on his eyes. That he feels that why to bother even his head or hands? Let us close our eyes and be happy. Pramada alasya nidrabhi tannibadhnati bharata. That person cannot come out of it to think, to pursue, to make some courage and bring some energy to his limbs and his mind and get to work. He doesn't do that. And he loses thereby. So these are the three binding qualities of sattva, rajas, tamas. Bhagavan explains further. So what does he say? So when sattva, again, sattvam sukhe sanjayati, raja karmani bharata, jnanam avrutya tu tamah pramade sanjayatyuta. So sattva begets this sukha. When there is a sattva, these three stages, they are sometimes represented. Even Sankhyas do that. Represented by three colors. Sattva by white, rajas by red, and tamas by black. See, these three colors. And they have very distinctive character, and every individual has these three gunas. Where a prakriti is there is a potency. I like to consider this because this is modern day language of the physics. So I like to consider them that if there is a same product and there are, due to their processes, suppose I am cooking it. So if I cook it on the low heat, one kind of product is produced. If on the medium heat, another kind of product will be produced with the same ingredient. Same thing when it is heated up. And heat is high, there would be another product. So similarly, with the same product and these three qualities, three gunas, as if they are three different frequencies. This hyper frequency is called as rajas. This hypo frequency is called as tamas. This balance frequency, which is very difficult to attain, is called as sattva. So this is somehow our mind, our prakriti itself is trained to go to one of the extreme. Either hypo or high. Hypo. Hyper or hypo. Too much high frequency or too little. And both these things, in one thing it becomes too unstable, and another thing, then it becomes too unreactive, as if it is not reacting to anything. And this is the one, there is the middle stage, what we call the sattva. When this frequency is as if tamas and rajas is balanced, and we have the best result. And therefore, here it says, Sattvam Sukhe Sanjayati. That this Sanjayati, Maharaj has used in a different, interpreted in a different way. Sanjayati, that is attachment. And it can be used also that it begets or it gives to Sattvam Sukhe Sanjayati. That sattva gives rise to the sukha, or sattva is attained in the sukha position. So they attach as so they are symbolic, they are equated with one another. Sukha, that maximum happiness would be achieved when there is this dominance of the sattva. Then karma, the action, it is raja karmani bharata. In the karma, this raja, it gives rise to raja, and due to rajas, this karma happens. Raja karmani bharata. Jnanam avrutya tu tamaha, by concealing the jnana, by concealing the knowledge. Tama pramade sanjayatyuta. That this tama, this pramade sanjayati, that it is born out of this pramada. Or this pramada comes out of this tamaha. So this pramada, this inadvertence, this is the classical nature of this tamas. When there is no focus, where you have this moha, that is viparita jnana, you have this confusion. Rather, confusion, this word, that indecisiveness, it is the typical quality, is considered to be of the rajas. In tamas, what happens? This person doesn't have this dilemma. He doesn't have dilemma. He is fully decided, but totally in the opposite direction. That is the nature of the tamas. In sattva person also, he doesn't have dilemma, but he is decided on the correct side. Tamas person is confused. This is right or that is right. Tamas person is also very decided, but on the wrong side. Viparita jnana, full confidence, and totally opposite direction. So Bhagavan says this again from the 11th verse. He says, Sarvadvareshu dehesmin prakasha upajayate jnanam yada tada vidyat vivruddham sattvam iti uta. So understand that whenever there would be rise of sattva, what will happen? It will reflect as Sarvadvareshu dehesmin prakasha upajayate. So as if Sarvadvareshu referring to your indriyas, indriya dwara. And in this deha, so in this deha, in this physical body, so these are the gross indriyas, Sarvadvareshu. What he says? Prakasha upajayate. Prakasha, light emanates from all these indriyas. What does it mean? So as if not that your mind is discriminating or mind is having this knowledge, this discretion, that what to do or what not to do, and accordingly mind is dictating indriyas. Not that. He says the indriyas itself, they become so discretionary. They become so discretionary. So as if that knowledge, we use this term like you see, muscle memory. Have you heard this? You have heard this term, muscle memory, isn't it? What does it signify? It is as if you have done something so many times. So now you do not have to engage your mind or brain after it, and your muscles, your physically itself, you are able to do that very reflexively. Suppose there is a piano player, pianist. Just by reflex of action, if some, suppose a singer is changing the track, he is not bound by it. His fingers will automatically move. A percussionist or any other person, just by due to over practice of it, so his limbs automatically move towards that direction. Suppose a player, he has to practice so much that it must go to his muscle memory, that without thinking he should be able to move. If he goes into thinking, then it would be loss of time. That critical fraction of second he will lose, and he will be delayed, he would be late in reacting to it. He might lose that match. Or harder enough, if there is a war veteran or a special force commando, if he go to start thinking in a very intense moment, he will lose his life. He cannot think. He must move without thinking. Isn't it? So, this thinking process, this conscious, deliberate pursuit of those actions, he has done so many times, now he do not have to think. As soon as his senses even read or even apprehend what is going to happen, he moves. So understand that when there is sattva to such a level that the senses themselves become discretionary, that what he is not supposed to see, listen, taste, smell, it will not. There are various instances. I have seen people, even for the worst cause, due to their own selfishness, they become like that. You are there is a third person, he said something, you heard it very clearly, and this person says that I have not heard it. And I tell you, if any lie detector test is taken, this person will come clean. This person will claim clean, because what he was speaking, it is not of his interest, he want to ignore. That's why even though his ears are on, he did not hear anything. Here, where you are witness. And here there is a similar, Bhagavan he says that when there is sattva, what happens? Sarvadvareshu dehesmin prakasha upajayate. In worldly sense, we get to see this, some kind of discretion. Bhagavan says here in the case of that sattva, that see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. It will happen to him. He will not see any fault, any evil in any person. He will always see the positive side of it, even though the next person has the malicious intent. He will probably think that why that person is so aggrieved, why he want to hurt me. Probably he needs something, because he is unhappy, because he is dejected, because he is such difficult circumstances. That's why he's come to rob me. That's why probably for something he can even kill me. So he's thinking for the person, not for his own life. See, so the person, probably this same person, if there would not be this rise of sattva, so that's why we see this different behavior in the different saints. That some thief came into in the house of a yogi in his hut. He had almost nothing. And when he realized that there is nothing and there is this person, this yogi, and he wanted to run away, and at that time he dropped something, then this yogi realized that this person is running away, and he felt so bad that this person has nothing to steal from him. So whatever little he had, he took that and he started running after him. The thief is running away in the fear that this person will catch me, and this yogi is running after him that oh Chor Maharaj, please take this. Because he is aggrieved for it. He is this person that disappointed, dejected, because he has nothing to take away, and in the difficult circumstances he ventured to break into my small hut. So this person must be good, so he must be given something. So there are such stories. So yada sattvam pravruddhetu jnanam yada tada vidyat vivruddham sattvam ityuta. So prakasha upajayate jnanam yada tada vidyat. So prakasha, and then it is what? Prakasha is what? Prakasha is not physical light, but jnana. Jnana yada tada vidyat vivruddham sattvam ityuta. When this happens, then you know that there is this vruddhi of sattva. Sattva is picking up. This is what it would be understood. Then he said, then the next. So what will happen with rajas? Lobha pravrittir arambha karmanam ashamah spruha rajasetani jayante vivruddhe bharatarshabha. What will happen? When this rajas will go to peak, what will happen? These things, lobha, pravritti and arambha. These three things will manifest in their full force. His greed, his covetousness, he wants everything. Whether he will use it now or after 100 years, he simply wants it. Lobha, pravritti, that going out for it, not to wait for it, not to ignore it, not to have desire for this is not happening, because this is not sattva or tamas. So go-getting attitude, lobha, pravritti, arambha, to begin things, initiatives. So they will come, they are born out of this rajas. And karmanam ashamaha spruha. This desire for action, karma, ashamaha, which is cannot be pacified, that kind of desire. Ashama spruha. It will born out of this when this rajas will go to peak. This will happen. This is the character of the rajas. So whenever these things are taking force and they are not taking anyway approach of pacifying even a bit, this is the power of rajas. It is manifesting. So you cannot feed it anymore. You can take the countermeasures if you want to mellow them down. Or if you are lacking these things, then you are falling short on rajas. There is not enough rajas. When you are supposed to go into action and you feel like why to take unnecessary trouble, it's all right. Then you are lacking this industry, this enterprise, that rajas is not there. Okay. We will see this 13th one, this tamasa, and then we will talk this again. Aprakasho apravrittischa. Aprakasha, there is no light, there is no discrimination, there is no this clarity of understanding. This is what aprakasha is. There is not the clearer manifestation. You cannot distinguish one from another. You are taking one thing granted for another. This moha is there. This pramada is there. And apravritti, there is that sufficient, that force is not there to do something. There is no pravritti. Tamas is there. Pramada moha evacha. This moha, this viparita jnana, being happy, satisfied and confident in something opposite of which you are supposed to. These are this pramada, moha and apravritti, aprakasha. These are the characteristics of tamasi etani jayante vivruddhe kurunandana. Hey Kurunandana. So, when he was talking about sattva, he didn't say anything to Arjuna's name. He didn't use any Arjuna's name. When he was talking about Rajasa, he said to him Bharatarshabha, that you are the bull of this clan of Bharatarshabha. When he was talking about Tamasa, he said to him Kurunandana. So this is something, even Bhagwan is also, that your whole Kuru clan has gone into tamas. That's why you are behaving like that. Tamasa Kurunandana. So he says aprakasha, apravritti and pramada and moha. These are born out of this tamas. Tamasi etani jayante. Miscomprehension. Maharaj has translated pramada as miscomprehension. And moha, this delusion. So pramada, another word is used for is inadvertence. Inadvertence. That you are not focused and you do mistakes after mistake. You cannot take 5 steps without doing a mistake. You are not gathered, you are lost your wit and senses. Moha is that kind of stubbornness in the totally wrong thing. One Swamiji, he was explaining, talking about Vedanta. He said, this Rajju Sarpa, this delusion, when he is explaining that somebody is thinking that rope as snake. All right. And then due to that anxiety, that fear, that scare, for that moment, as long as he realizes, due to this, there is not sufficient light, that's why this delusion is created. So rope has to be there, the piece of rope has to be there. Without that, snake cannot be imagined there. So Maharaj is explaining it is all right if somebody considers that rope as snake. For the moment, he will have this fear spiked up in his heart. It is all right. Okay. It is all right. This confusion arises. But imagine if somebody takes snake as a rope. What will happen? The result can be certain death. Because he is considering that snake as rope. Okay. I say that is real moha. If earlier is due to rajasa, that confusion, now this is the moha. He will consider snake as rope and take it, pick it up, and snake will eventually bite. This fellow can die. There was only fear. Here is no fear, but absolute certain death. No fear, because he is fully decided that this snake is rope. So these are the three, these qualities, when they manifest in different way. So, and this, consider this idea that whole of this creation is made up of these 5 elements, Pancha Mahabhutas. So from Pancha Tanmatra, through Panchikarana, they have become this Pancha Vishaya and Pancha Mahabhuta. Okay, Pancha Vishaya and Pancha Mahabhuta. Now, what is made up of these? 2 things, 2 divisions we have to understand at the very beginning, at the first. One, what we call as gross. Gross is what is sensory observable. That is gross. Okay? Which is sensory observable. That which you can touch, see, smell, hear. So that would be considered as gross. And there is something called subtle. So this gross is called as physical. So even my word you cannot see, but you hear, that is called as physical. Okay, so this is physical. What you smell, even if you cannot see, you can smell, no? Then it is physical. All right. Now, what is subtle? Then subtle is what can be experienced by the mind. What can be experienced by the mind? That is subtle. So physical and mental, psychological, these are the 2 divisions. And gunas are the only thing, they show this continuous homogeneity of these things, of this both world. Both are affected by the gunas, made up of gunas, gunas having influence over it. Physical and this psychological, everything. So gross and subtle, sthula and sukshma. So Now, every individual has these gunas because it comes with the prakriti itself. It is not that something is sattvic completely and there are no other gunas. Suppose tamas is not there, how this quality and how far this discussion may go, understanding of the qualities gunas, you can imagine, consider this thought and idea. What you see, everything gross and physical, everything is made up of qualities only. There is nothing called physical. Understand this idea. That there is this physical something is just a notion. It just subjectively, there is nothing like it. There is nothing like physical. There is nothing like gross. Everything is a matter of perception. You are conditioned for this. That's all. Given your circumstances, the way you are conditioned to pursue certain things, that's how your experience is. It is tailored and it is not therefore the ultimate truth. So physicality, grossness of something therefore cannot be the taste of reality. It is not the taste of reality itself. Because something is gross and physical, that's why it is real. No, it itself, that argument itself is flawed. It is not true. Consider that. So, qualities and these qualities makes this prakriti and gunamai and Bhagwan Ishwar, that consciousness alone is not affected and transcends it and lies beyond it. And therefore, like suppose what I was trying to say, that something, if I say milk is sattvic, rajasic or tamasic, and somebody says milk is yes sattvic, better than cold drink, take sattvic. Or this spice is something you are taking, that would be too rajasic, don't take that. Tea, because it is exciting nature, so it is rajasic, do not take that. Or maybe curd, it might be tamasic, do not take that. Ghee is sattvic, etc., etc. So Ayurveda discusses this of our body due to kapha pitta dosha, and this about this padartha. Now suppose milk or ghee, something is sattvic. What does it mean? That there are no rajas and tamas, these qualities are absolutely absent? It cannot be. Because you see, tamasa is responsible for anything which can be embodied, which can take a shape, which can even exist grossly. Without tamasa, it is not happening. Can it? Tamasa is the thing, tamas is the quality which gives anything some shape, some steadiness, some stability. To let it come to an existence, tamas is required. In this physical sense. Can you imagine that? So it is never anything, therefore it is only sattvic or only tamasic or only rajasic. It only have one and it does not have any other two. It is not never like that. A person, a thing, a moment, a mind, a state, anything. So only thing is, what we require is special that configuration, that it comes and responds and vibrates and approps itself in that particular frequency where it becomes most useful for us. So suppose in our person now rajas, tamas is given, sattva is given, you need knowledge, you need action, and you now pramada alasya nidravhi. So if suppose you are too excited, you will not be able to sleep. Isn't it? If I say to have a sattva, tamas is required to have stability. So if tamasa is not counterbalancing rajasa, you cannot have even meditation. You cannot have any steadiness of the mind. You cannot have any decision steadied. There would not be any anchor if there would not be tamas. So, idea, understand this. So, what we are having discussion about rajas, sattvic, rajas and tamas, that ultimately goal is not to become sattvic. Or somebody might think, no, rather I will become rajasic because I want to become, some politician, I want to become king, I want to become a businessman, or I want to become a military, commander. So I want better, I want rajas. Or somebody will say, no, I will become tamasic. I like that. I will become dark villain. I like that attitude. I will become like that. So I like that rather than Ram, I like Ravan. Ravan I like. I will become Ravan. Etc. etc. Means suppose fancying your ideas. So what Bhagavad Gita or scripture or even this Sankhya, it does not teach you, or it is not the inference that you should either become sattvic, rajasic or tamasic. That is not the thing. They are explaining these qualities. They are explaining these qualities. Every material, every particle of this creation you have, including your mind and your whole being itself, which is covering. Point is that this is material. You are supposed to exploit it, including your mind, including whatever you are coming across, whatever is forming the experience you are going through. Now you exploit it to your advantage in such a way that it ultimately feeds, furthers and causes your own illumination and liberation, moksha and jnana. That you are supposed to attain kaivalya. This is what Sankhya or Yoga says, or Nirvana as the Vedanta says. This must happen. So you are to become free of the gunas. This is what the goal is. Because even sattva also binds your it. But you utilize them in a way. Suppose you have to do sadhana, spiritual practice. Rajas is required or not? Rajas is required. Without rajas, can you do that? You cannot do. Rajas is required. In that direction, in the direction of the sattva. So guided by sattva, that rajas is required. That tamas is required for that steadiness. That stubborn-headedness. That no matter what, how can you fight impossible odds? If you do not have that madness, if you do not have that craziness, if you are only doubtful, how can you take that leap and how can you take that jump? You cannot do that. And Sri Ramakrishna in Gospel, he has explained this. He said that he has used this expression. See, you have to only turn them around in the desired direction. So they are the means, they are the material. You are supposed to exploit them to your advantage. Your own objective being attaining that kaivalya, that moksha, that nirvana, that jnana. And at one point he also said that even devotion is of various kind. That sattvic person, when he is practicing devotion, he remains very humble, does not make any show, even if he is meditating. When everybody is sleeping in his own, this under mosquito curtain, he is meditating there silently without letting anybody know. And same when Rajasic person is practicing devotion, what he will do? He will make a lot of pomp and show, and he will have nice this tiger skin to sit on for meditation, probably singing, having this one Rudraksha Mala, in which there would be one that is attached with this golden coils and golden threads. That Rudraksha Mala is also made it in gold. and the different red cloth and red the tilak and all that show Rajasic person will do, even practicing devotion. Without that, he will not feel fulfilled. And he says even tamas is required for the bhakti. So somebody asks, what is like tamasa? Like he says, like when this robbers attack and whole this pandemonium breaks out, and there is only one sound is coming in the dark of the night, that maro kato. So that kind of attitude in the devotion is required, that you become so desperate. Without that, it is not possible. Do you understand this? So very beautifully he puts it. So there would be people of different kind. You can understand from the knowledge of these three gunas what is discussion going on. So what is going on with you? But you need not define and draw this bottom line that this is what you are. You might be, but this is because it is made up of guna, it is subject to change. You can bring in necessary change, or as you are right now, employ such kind of treatment for you to make the best of your time. Whatever you want to do with it. If you are with too much tamas, you need certain kind of rajas, you need certain kind of sattva. If there is only sattva, you need certain kind of rajas. Tamas, this is required. If there is too much rajas, you require certain kind of sattva and tamas to balance yourself. So various ways how you can deal, how can approach your own mind, your own health, and therefore in what kind of mental state you are, and whether then you must be thinking clearly or not, you can decide. If you are too excited, then don't believe yourself. If you are too depressed, do not take yourself seriously. है ना, अभी कुछ तो भी हो गया, some I have become too depressed, बस कल से मैं संन्यास ले लेता हूँ, मैं दे देता हूँ ये सब इसको, है ना, रामकृष्ण मिशन को, चला जाता हूँ हिमालय वगैरह. Don't believe yourself. You are not that person. This is what exactly Arjuna was doing, no? In the beginning, he was doing exactly these things. And Krishna said, no, you are not that kind of person. You are only going to blame me later. Don't do that. He was talking all the big words. Why to kill our own kith and kins, etc. It is better to beg alms. Like that he was speaking. So, that's how this is important to have this perspective. When we are even just seeing, scanning, analyzing our material and emotional stuff, we need to be on our watch whether we ourselves are observing them rightfully, in a correct way. Whether we are in a good position or whether we are not influenced or biased. So, similarly it is for the others also. If we are observing some other person, so why he might be behaving in a particular way. So what can be the approach I can adopt to deal with it. So, this discussion on these three gunas, this 14th chapter, it will proceed. There is, these verses are rather very simple. There is not much to to deliberate upon. This we can very easily go one by one, and in a few classes this chapter we can finish. This is a very nice chapter. Then 15th chapter. So next these verses, as I have said earlier, so whole discussion or philosophical part is over by the 9th chapter. And here what we say means if we take in this 6, 12 and this 18, so in this way, so here what we say, the action part from the 12 to 18 onwards, 13 to 18 onwards. So so first thing is Shravana, Manana and this Nididhyasana. So now there would not be much. This all philosophy will come from only this point of view of its actionability. How to put it into practice. That's why this discussion on the gunas is going on right now. Okay then. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. नेक्स्ट संडे क्लास होगा ना? ठीक है.